Welcome in, guys, to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and this is your host, Just Call Me Tex. And right now we're getting ready to go over my November's tier list for the characters that's currently in the game. Now, we currently had some other characters drop like Marge and things of that nature. They're not currently on the tier list at the moment because the tier maker wasn't updated. But just to throw in a disclaimer, if Marge was on the tier maker, she would definitely be a S rank character. So I did something a little bit different to talk about the different characters in the game, because I just wanted to give my thoughts and my opinion on the state of the character makeup in the game. I think the game is in a really good place, but let's look at which characters really set themselves apart in the content area of the game. So what I have is I have my S class, my S rank class. I have A, B, C, F, and then I have characters that need reworks that I really think that with a rework they could be able to move up the tier list. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm gonna start from the bottom going up. These are characters that I think that absolutely needs to be reworked. There's no question about it. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts about it. These characters definitely need a rework. So we have Kapoor, we have AJ, Marlon and Rosie, Tiffany. I do have Franklin on here, but he's a +2, and I'll tell you what that +1 and +2 means. It means that with certain builds, these characters can be able to go from the rank they're at up a possible 2 more ranks. So Franklin has a range. He ranges between a character that needs work if he's not built correctly, all the way up to a C class rank character where he can be able to work in certain teams in very specific combinations and things of that nature. But the other characters such as Tiffany and Eugene, I would totally stay away from those guys. Those guys definitely need reworks. They do not fit the current meta. Absolutely, when they came out, they didn't fit the meta. There's just characters that definitely need a rework to be able to bring them into the meta, so that you can kind of be able to switch teams up and have a variety and things of that nature. Now, this is my F class list. Now, what the F class means is that these characters don't fit into the current meta. They can be used in other areas of the game, but as far as war, which is the biggest part of the game right now, and faction raids, these characters do not fit the mold. They do not work out. You won't be able to use them pretty much. That's pretty much how it works out. So we do have Dayu on here, Sheila, Willie, Davey, who I love. I hope they have another Davey event in February. I want to definitely continue his story, but he doesn't fit the current meta. Now, Davey should be a +1, so he'll be a +1 in the next one, because if you build a team a certain way, he can do massive damage, but it has to be built a very specific way in order for Davey to work. And he does AoE damage. So Davey may not be good as an S-class character, but in 5-star arenas, Davey is excellent. And I'll do a 5-star arena build with Davey as one of the features. Just let me know if you want to see that down in the comments below. We have Marcus. Marcus is a +1. I just don't see any use for him in the game. I don't see a lot of people using him as a lead. And then we have Minerva, Malcolm. We have the Doc Stevens, Glenn. Then we have James. James at one point was a decent character, but he fell out of rotation. Raulito used to be meta. He used to be meta, but there's no use for Raulito now with all the bleed resist and things of that nature. I really loved Raulito. I thought he was gonna last a couple generations, but he didn't. So but he can be +1 depending on the team that you use him in. He can be a C rank character, but right now there's just no room for him. Secretary Gal and definitely Jason could be a -1. He definitely could use a rework. He doesn't fit in any other metas that's going right now. You may be able to use him and Walker hordes. But he just doesn't fit the meta right now. Now, your C class characters are characters that you can use in very specific teams that can be able to help your team get over the edge. Now, these characters are mainly support characters, and what I mean by that is, if we look at the C class characters, Hangin can work in very specific teams. I've seen him in a couple of war defensive teams. He did a pretty good job with that crosshairs and the crit up. Steve, I put Steve here because not many people outside of War of Champions have Steve. He was a War of Champion exclusive character, so I don't have too much experience with him. So he just sits here. Steve could be +2 depending on if the rest of society inside the game are able to get him. So we just have to see what's going to happen there. Now, Shane is a very specific character because he's really good, but he has to be built a certain way and he fits in certain teams. Okay, he can easily be nuked too depending on who you're playing with. But if you put Shane in the team with Jesus, who's not on this list either, he will also be an S rank character. He wasn't on the tier list, but if you put him in a team with Jesus, it can work depending on your mods and alert buffs and things of that nature. With your weapons are very important, so that definitely could work with Shane in that team. Storm just doesn't see a place for him, but Storm is a powerhouse. If you build him right, Storm definitely could do a lot of damage, and he decapitates one character, and he does a really good job of that. So Storm is there as a C tier. Now we have Shiva, one of the best characters from the Walking Dead comics and the TV show. Shiva has +2, so Shiva could go from a C class rank up to an A class rank depending on the build and the team that Shiva's in. It depends. Now, I've come up against some war teams where Shiva is wrecking. She's just built perfectly, right? Then I've come up in war teams where I just use Princess and Shiva's useless. So you have that range of variety with how Shiva can be used. That's why Shiva has a +2, and so does Shane. Now, Mateo is used in a very particular team. You can use him as an infection specialist, but there's all sorts of heals and things of that nature that's going on now in the game. So there's ways around that, which is why he is a C ranked character. Now, we have Carrie Ann, who has a +1. She can be a B rank character depending on how she's used within the team and depending on how you use her lead with that elusive for 2 turns at the beginning of the wave. Chris is here because Chris is a powerhouse if you build her correctly, and she has I believe she has slow on her attack. So Chris is a C ranked character to me. Frost is also too. There's ways around him being the human shield. If you build him right, he can be possibly be B class. So he should have a +1 there, but he can. I love Clementine because I love the Telltale games, but Clementine is just not a leader that you want to take when you're going against some of the meta teams right now. She just doesn't fit in, but she does still have value. Lewis as well. And then Rosita, I've seen Rosita torture team if she's built correctly, so she has a +1. She can be a B class character. And then we have the gentleman. The gentleman does massive damage, but he has waste not 1. If he had waste not 2, 2 characters, yeah, he would definitely be an A class juggernaut, but he has waste not 1. And Dylan is a very unique character because he's like the red version of Priya with Rampage, but he has to be built a certain way. 1535s, extra crit, extra boost in order for Dylan to really make an impact. So that's why he has a +2. Now for my B class characters, Mercer's fell out of rotation. Mercer used to be a S rank character, but with Axel in the game, and there's just, you know, other ways around Mercer. Mercer has fallen off as that defensive juggernaut that he once was, because people typically use him on defense, so he's just not the same. But he still does have value. You still see him around in war, so he definitely could be a +1 moving up in 1 rank in the class there. Now, with that being said, we have Negan. Negan is a powerhouse. Morgan is really good. These guys are relatively new to the game. I have Pete. Pete can be used in very specific teams, and he works really well. I have a Jesus team with Pete in it. Pete works wonders. Now, Arv could be B class or S rank. It depends on the team that you have him in. Arv used to be a absolute monster. He was used all over the place, but he kind of fell out with some of those new characters that have come into the game. And if you don't have him modded correctly, Angel just exhausts him to death. Marge with his AP gain, it just becomes a problem. So he has the B class. George is another War Champions character. I've seen her and ran into her a couple times. She's pretty good. I've used her in arenas. So Georgia is right there at that B class. Then we have Angel. Angel can be a good defensive leader. She can possibly be a +1. Just depends on how you build her. I've ran into some Angel teams that are built very well, very good. You know, I actually have a good Angel defensive team myself. And what I consider to be good is your defense lasting 6 to 7, 8 turns. Okay, because if you have a 2-turn offense or 3-turn offense, if your team averaging at least 8 turns on defense, then that means that you're getting to at least 2.25 camps. That's how I look at it, right? Now, we have Wankfa. Wankfa still has value here. That heal reduction and hemorrhage over time, you know, Wankfa still has a place. And what I'm starting to see now is with some of these newer characters coming in, like Marge and Javier and things of that nature, I've been seeing a resurgence of Laupo. So Laupo is a B class ranked character depending on the team that you have him in. She can be Laupo. She can be really good. So you definitely want to, if you have these yellow tunes such as Tanya, you can build a really good defense around Laupo. Now, with that being said, let's get to the A class teams. A class tunes, okay? These are characters that are top notch in the game. Some leaders, some attackers, but they are the characters that you must go after in order to have successful teams. And one is Michonne. Michonne is +1. Why does Michonne have a +1? Because Michonne is the adversary of Jackie, and Jackie is a meta team now. Unless you play in 1A or 1B, you're starting to see tons of Jackie teams. Michonne is a direct counter to her. You need to have Michonne on your team to help you reduce and be able to fight against these tanky Jackie teams. Now, Imani, why is she A? Okay, Imani is a good defensive leader, and on top of that, she is a nuisance with the turn 1 impair, and she has splash damage, but she has AoE attack. She attacks 5 characters, does 500% damage, which is not great, but it's good enough to be able to help out on a defensive team when you're going against offensive teams who are not built defensively. So she can work out and be really good for you depending on how you use her. Now, the bear could be a +1. Okay, Brutus is a problem. You build Brutus right. I use Brutus exclusively against Jackie teams, and he absolutely shreds. Love Brutus. Now, we have Tanya and Noor coming up next. They both can be +1s, and the reason why I say that is because Tanya can be a nuisance. If you don't stun her or use normalize, Tanya can be a problem. Once she starts going, she just keeps going, and she's really good. Noor is an absolute powerhouse, and she gives AP to teammates. The downside of Nor is you can nuke Nor because of that extra AP that she's getting. So you got to be careful with that. But Nor is a powerhouse. I've seen Nor destroy teams. I have her personally. I recommend that if you didn't get her from a league store, continue to go after her. She is going to be a tune that's going to carry into the next generation. She's really good. And then we have Lilith here. Why is Lilith on the A-class team? Why is she here? Because she's a great leader. She is a really good leader. Okay, and she can hold 1535 weapon in her hand, give that AP 1535 weapon in her hand, that elusive impair Marcus weapon, and she does 5,000 damage, and 5,000 main damage, and you know what I mean, she has decapitate on that main damage move. So she is a really, really good leader. I personally think that she belongs here in this tier. Now, Aaron, another one. Do not sleep on Aaron. Aaron built correctly with the bear and Kenny Rex absolutely destroys. Okay, and I have an Aaron built team. You can actually check out the guide that I have and put together with the Aaron built teams and kind of see how that is going to work out for you. Check it out up at the top there for that Aaron guide. Now, Axel. Axel is the Mercer Killer. Axel is a great lead. Okay, you could definitely look into Axel and see what it is that he does. Axel is just an absolute monster. He's a great lead. Definitely check out. He could be a +1. Priya, of course. Priya is still really, really good in the game. She could be +1. I put her at an A tier because, you know, Jesus just came into the game. She has a direct counter now, you know, with the camouflage, things of that nature, you know, but Priya still wrecks. She's still an absolute monster. Now, I've been seeing a lot of Aaron defenses. He's such a tank on defense. You can build him correctly with the combination of him and tough characters. He is a absolute beauty to have on offense. And Job, why is Job here? Job is the love of my heart. I got finished playing through the Cali story, and you can actually check that out up above. And Job is just such a great character, and I fell in love with him. And also too, Job wrecks with that fire starter. If you put a rampage weapon in his hand, he is going to do some damage. So we definitely have Job there, up there in the A class list. Princess is there. We already know. You know, Princess is my baby, love of my heart. I talk about her all the time. We know what she does. Princess is still, as we're into the 3rd generation of new characters, she's still one of the top characters in the game. Rick, one of the absolute best support characters. Be on the lookout for my support character tier list that's coming out, and we'll just talk about just the support characters in the game. And Ivanova is a really great lead. She helps and does a really good job against Jackie teams. Now, we have our S-class tier rank teams. Players. These players set the game apart. Jackie is number 1. She's meta right now. She is meta. She's a really good lead. Really, really, really good lead. And her rush does attack down. She confuse resist. And she's just such a good lead. If you build her correctly, build her weapon up and put fast healing on there. Oh man, with Tanya and then Trader, lights out. It's a really good combination there when it comes to Jackie. So she's the top tier. Beta is a top tier character as well. I've seen Beta with Andrea, who's not on here, but she would be an S-class rank character also. Destroy teams. I just seen them just wreck. Beta is absolutely a good character. Trader, we know about the Trader. Everybody hates the Trader, okay? But we love him at the same time because the Trader is a really good character. Most people can get him now on the road maps. If you don't have him, I say definitely go after the Trader. He still has value. If you put alert buff on his weapon or cleanse, lights out. It's pretty good there. Now Alpha. Alpha is S-class rank. Why? Alpha has disarm. Alpha can hold the new axe from the Haunted, and she is a direct counter to Traitor. She just destroys. So Alpha is definitely up there, and she does negative 50% to all of the teammates. And it's possible that Alpha by herself, if you build her correctly, if you put her on an all green team and you have a weapon that gives the 10% attack to green characters, night. She is a problem. So she's really good. Definitely want to look into getting Alpha. She's one of the characters that you want to have. Now, Mr. Lou. I've seen teams with 3 Mr. Lou's, bleed damage all over the place. Payback, camouflage. What else? It's a problem. Mr. Lou is a problem. Go after Mr. Lou. Definitely one of the top characters that you want in the game. It's a problem. You definitely need Mr. Lou. And I've ran into Mr. Lou and war and things of that nature, and it's been an absolute issue. Now, Javier is going to be a meta leader coming forward along with Marge. He is really, really good. You definitely want to go after Javier. Now, in a supply depot, if you have enough supply tokens and some coins, you can refresh the supply depot. I already got 3,000 cards of Javier from the supply depot, and it's going really good. So I should have S-Class Javier pretty soon, working on him. And why is Kenny S-Class ranked? Because Kenny's an absolute monster. Focus, elusive, 75% attack. You put him, Priya, and Princess in the team. You put him in the team pretty much with anybody that's a strong offensive character, and he is going to give them super boost and absolutely destroy. So Kenny, if you notice, is the only support character that's not a lead that's up there in the S-Class rank, because he is really that good. Everybody was able to get their hands on him. Thank you, Scopely, for bringing out this character so people can be able to have a chance. It's a really good event. Most people got Kenny. Level him up. Keep Kenny. Lock him on your team so you don't make no mistakes. He's really, really good and holding that spot. So thank you guys for tuning in to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. Please hit that like, subscribe button, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos that are coming. I thank you guys for tuning in to my November tier list. When the list get updated, hey, you know, it's more to come. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. This your boy Just Call Me Tex. Peace.